Do you feel like life is not going the way you want? Do you feel lost, stressed, anxious, and you kind of get stuck in the cycle of habits that take you further and further away from the life that you would love? This video is for you. We're going to explore a powerful tool called a choice point that can help you break away from the unhelpful habits and break free from the mental noise, the painful thoughts and feelings, and allow you to choose to live a meaningful and fulfilling life that you love. Welcome back to the Happiness Trap book series, where we explore the world's best-selling guide to acceptance and commitment therapy, 1 to 2 chapters per week. My name is Angela, and my life has been forever changed for the better because of working through this book for over a year with my therapist. And I really want to share the wisdom of this book with you. So today we're going to explore chapter 2, the choice point. Every day we do so many things, and some of the things that we do bring us towards the life that we want, to become the person that we would want to be. And then we also do things that take us away from the life that we want and away from the type of person that we will wish to be. And the goal of acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, is to help us develop skills to do more of the towards move, even when our mind is noisy and the world is really loud. And I think this is especially pertinent to this really turbulent time that we're living through, because the world can be really chaotic. And if you turn on the news, there can be a lot of violence and just things that are deeply disturbing to us. And it's very easy to get lost in the darkness. But I think that the power of ACT is to help us develop the skills to still choose to act according to our deepest and truest values, even when the world is chaotic. And in that way, I think ACT can help us build the skills to bring more light to the darkness in this world. And what we're exploring today, that is called the choice point, it is a tool that can help us to look at our life with more clarity and help us build the ability to choose intentionally the towards move in our lives, so that we can live in a more purposeful, in a more fulfilling and meaningful way. And it is also really beautiful because it takes into account that we will encounter difficult situations, thoughts, and feelings. So we don't need to wait until everything is perfect before we can move forward into the life that we love. So let's try the choice point exercise together now. I want to invite you to think of this as an experiment. So if you take a pause right now and listening to what your mind is saying about this exercise, it's likely to be saying that it's not going to work. This is way too hard. I don't have time for this. And those are really normal thoughts that our mind would come up with, especially in a new situation, because it's trying to protect us from experiencing painful thoughts and feelings. And I want to invite you to allow those thoughts and feelings to be there and kind of like treat them like a phone that's playing some music in the background, and just allow that to play in the background and come back to doing this exercise. And I promise you, I will be with you every step of the way. I also want to invite you to take some time to grab your writing tools to join me in this exercise together. It can be pen and paper, it can be digital writing tools, it's all good. Or if you want to follow the template that Russ Harris provides in his free ebook, The Happiness Trap Extra Bits, you can also download that in the link in the description. And it's really important that you actually do the exercise yourself and not just watch me do it, because the full benefit of this exercise is really only revealed when you actually participate in it. There are 3 main parts to this exercise, and I want to invite you to go through each part in the following sequence. So first, I'm going to show you the general concept of each part. And then I want to invite you to pause the video so then you can fill out your own responses to the prompts. And then you can resume the video and watch my answers. That way, your responses are not going to be influenced by my answers. So first, at the bottom of the page, I want you to write down the word hooks. And then the words difficult, thoughts, feelings, and situations. And then I want you to fill out for you, what are the difficult thoughts, feeling, and situations that you are experiencing right now. So I want you to take a pause in the video and fill it out, and then you can resume it once you're done. So here are my responses. In terms of difficult thoughts, it's usually my mind is saying, I am not good enough. It really loves to play that theme song in my mind. And another really consistent, like almost permanent one is I need to be perfect. So the perfectionism runs really loudly in my mind. And you won't be surprised to know that my difficult feelings include anxiety and also fatigue as well. It is quite tiring to have these theme songs going through my mind a lot of the times. And in terms of difficult situations, for me, that would be, one of them is definitely my endometriosis. So for those of you who don't know, I have been diagnosed with endometriosis around 3 years ago, and I definitely struggle with that. A lot of pain, especially cramps during my period, and it also can cause some fatigue between periods as well. So that's definitely one. And then another one is a major career transition that I am still in the midst of. Around 2 to 3 years ago, and around my endometriosis diagnosis, I stepped away from my teaching career and am now in kind of like a liminal space, trying to figure out a path in the fogginess of uncertainty. So these are definitely difficult situations for me. So notice that these are hooks in our lives. These are the things that are very emotionally salient and painful and difficult. And those are the situations or thoughts and feelings that will often drag us into the away moves, into stepping further and further away from the life that we want. And it often can trap us into doing things that don't really align with our core values. And the purpose of ACT is, again, to help us recognize that these are the things that will show up. These are the things that we don't really have much control over, and they kind of pop up in our lives, and we can recognize them. And in recognizing them, it gives us the ability, the space, the little bit of space to choose what we can do next. Do we choose to follow the urges and the feelings that these thoughts and feelings and situations are bringing up? Or we can also consciously choose to do towards move, even when they're uncomfortable and feels difficult at times, but knowing that it's going to lead us towards the life that we want, that we will love, and the person that we'll want to be. So in the second part, we are going to clarify what our away moves are. So I want you to kind of draw a circle in the middle of the page, and then you can have an arrow pointing to the left-hand side of the page, and then you can just say away. Those are the things that we do that we tend to really do, especially when we're being hooked by those difficult thoughts, feelings, and situations. And these are the things that we do, not the things that we feel. If you're thinking about feelings, those would go under the feelings section here at the bottom. But these are the things that we do either physically, like externally with our body doing things outside, or it can be things that we do inside as well. Like maybe it's mentally ruminating on things or catastrophizing on the situation at hand. I'm very good at that. So these are the things that lead us away from the life that we will love. And I also want to help you clarify that the away moves are only defined by you. So for example, for me, working hard in itself can be both a towards or an away move. If I work hard on a project that I love, like what I'm doing right now, that's definitely a towards move for me. But if I work hard on a project so much, so extremely, that I'm missing out on quality time with my husband, or that I'm getting sick because I'm just ignoring my health, then that will be an away move. So whether something is an away or towards move is very context dependent, and only you can decide which category the actions actually fall into. So again, I want to invite you to take a pause right now and fill out your own responses on the away side of the arrow. So I want you to fill in your responses on this side. And once you're done, you can resume the video. So here are some of my responses. For example, when I'm trapped in those difficult thoughts, feelings, or situations, tend to do comparing myself with other comparisons. My mind is really good at that to make me feel bad about how poorly I'm doing. It can be blaming myself. I also, one of the away moves that I can do is to eat bad food for me. So because of my endometriosis, a lot of foods, if I eat them, especially when I eat them a lot, I tend to have a lot more inflammation and then pain in my body. So that's definitely an away move for me. And then this is definitely another big one, is not sleeping enough. I think to me, sleep has been the key to my health and my energy level. And when I don't sleep enough, I definitely feel like everything gets worse. So if I binge watch a show too much and then I lose sleep, that's usually an away move for me. These away moves are the things that we do and unfortunately are often taught to do when we're in what ACT calls the obey or struggle mode. So what are the obey and struggle modes? Obey modes are the modes in which when we just get completely hooked by the difficult thoughts, feelings, and situations, we kind of completely buy into that. We fuse with that. We are, like, in my experience, it's kind of like a trance. Like I get trapped in that. It dominates me completely. And then I will do things that are in accordance with those difficult thoughts and feelings. Like when I'm feeling like, the thoughts of I'm not good enough comes up in my mind, then I can get into the obey mode where I obey that thought and go into comparison between myself and others. Like, oh yeah, I'm really bad in comparison to this other person. Or I can blame myself for like, why am I so bad? And I just completely buy into the thought of I am not good enough. On the other hand, in the struggle mode, we can do things to want to push away those difficult thoughts and feelings. We're resisting. We want to run away from those difficult thoughts and feelings because they're so painful and unpleasant. And for me, these are the examples. Excuse my handwriting. Struggle. I'm struggling when I'm writing this. So these are the actions that I do as an example of being in the struggle mode. Like when I'm eating food that are not good for me, I'm often being trapped in the feeling of anxiety, or the thought of I need to be perfect, and I'm really hooked by that. And in order for me to feel better, I can be in the struggle mode and say, oh, I want to push that feeling away. I don't want to feel that. So I'm going to eat a cookie. I'm going to eat a bag of chips. I'm going to binge watch this show so that I don't have to feel those feelings or be in those thoughts. I just want to push them away. I'm going to binge watch a show, and then I lose sleep as a consequence. So oftentimes doing the struggle things, being in the struggle mode, trying to push things away, is able to provide us with short-term relief. It does have a reward, and that's why we all do it. But in the long run, it does not lead to the life that we want. But regardless of how many away moves we all do in our lives, we also do towards move. The towards move are the things that we do that will bring us towards the life that we want in the long run. So for example, you are doing a towards move right now by watching this video and doing the exercise. So I want to invite you to take a pause right now, again, to fill out your responses to the towards move, and I will then share my answers with you. If you're struggling with coming up with towards moves, it is very common. So here are some tips. You can think about what are the opposite of the away moves that you have listed in your diagram. Or what are the things that can help you improve your health or your relationships? Because those are the things that really are key determinants of our well-being. Or you can think about, what do you really care about deep down? What really matters to you? And what are some of the things that you can do to bring those values into life, into action? So if you haven't filled out your chart yet, feel free to do it right now and take a pause in the video. If you have already filled it out, then here are my answers. So one of the top towards moves that I do in my life is to nurture my relationships, including my beautiful marriage. So the towards move that I'm going to highlight here for myself will be to talk with my husband. He is incredibly grounded and wise. So by sharing my difficulties with him, my joys and sorrows with him, it definitely make my life better. It gives my life more inspiration and help me live in a more aligned, values aligned direction. So that's definitely one. Another one is definitely to sleep more. That's always a winner. Whenever I sleep more, I try to do better with my sleep hygiene. I never regret it. It's always a good move, and the rewards are so big the next day. So that's definitely a good towards move. And the next one for me is really reading good books. So including The Happiness Trap, which I'm so happy that I read and worked through it for a year with my therapist. And there's so many great books that have given me so many insights. They're like mentors in my life. So reading good books are definitely towards moves for me. Congratulations, you have just finished your first choice point exercise where we clarified our hooks, our away, and also our towards move. And I want to invite you to take a pause right now and again listen into what your mind is saying right now. Is it saying that, oh, this is too hard? Oh my gosh, I have so many away moves and I really don't know what my towards move are and I really suck? Is it saying that it's actually pretty cool and I would like to explore this further? No matter what your mind is saying, it's normal, it's common, and you can again allow those thoughts to be there. And even if it is saying things that pull you away from the exercise, you can use that as a choice point. So this is an example of us having difficult thoughts and feelings. And in this moment, since you are aware that they popped up in your mind, you have the freedom to choose whether you want to do the away move by not doing the exercise ever again and just completely throw the book into the trash, or the towards move by allowing those feelings to be there and continue on with the video and with this video series and with the exercises. And this also is a good chance for us to practice a unhooking skill. The skill that we practiced last time in the previous video is called noticing and naming. So when you notice a thought, let's say this exercise really sucks, you can say, I notice my mind is saying that this exercise really sucks. And just by adding, I notice my mind is saying that, I am already feeling, wow, there's like a little bit of space between the thought, this really sucks, with me. So I'm not as hooked by it, and therefore I have more freedom to choose what I want to do next intentionally instead of going into the obey or struggle mode. And I really think that this exercise is a microcosm of our lives, because when we are doing something like this exercise that makes us feel maybe a little bit uncomfortable, difficult thoughts are coming up into our minds, we can often be trapped in the obey and struggle mode. And then we're basically repeating patterns that have been conditioned in us for maybe decades. And we're kind of trapped in this pattern of behavior that doesn't bring a lot of freedom or true creativity into our planet. And I really believe that act through exercises like this, and there are many others that we'll introduce in the rest of the series, it gives us tools, practical tools, to help us clarify what makes us get trapped and hooked. And it gives us practical and simple tools like the naming and noticing to help us get out of that, to just get a little bit of distance and freedom from that. So then we can bring new ways of being, new consciousness onto this planet. And I think this is a key way for us to bring light into the darkness that we are experiencing right now. So what is the exercise for this week? First, if you haven't had a chance to complete the choice point exercise yet, I really strongly recommend that you do it and really fill that out with your own responses. That would be really, really helpful. The second is to continue to practice that noticing and naming skill that we introduced in last week's video, and we also repeated in today's video as well. And I want to encourage you to do it at least once per day, because the more you practice, the more our wiring in our brain can get reinforced and changed, so then we can get better at creating that freedom in our life, so that we can choose more towards move and live a life that we love. I want to recommend that you tie that practice to something you do every day. So for example, right before you make your morning cup of coffee, or while the coffee is brewing, you can practice naming and noticing. What is your mind saying in that moment? What are you feeling in that moment? And just say, I notice my mind is saying that. Or you can make a slightly different version. I notice my body is feeling that. Just to do it once a day, and at least, and in that way, I think you would get stronger and stronger with your act muscles. And I really encourage you to share your experience in the comments below, because I cannot wait to learn from your experiences. If you haven't watched the first two videos in this series yet, I really recommend that you check them out, because they build on each other. And I really want to encourage you to get the book and read along with me, so then you can get the full benefits, because there's so much in the book that I cannot cover in these videos, and I really want you to get all the nutrient that it can offer. So next week, we're going to discuss chapter 3, The Black Hole of Control, and it's so good. So I really encourage you to read with me. And you can grab a copy of the book from the local library, or you can also use the links in the description below. One of them is a paid link where I will earn a commission to support this channel at no cost to you. And I've also included a non-paid link version as well. I invite you to subscribe to the channel so more people can see these videos. And I really appreciate your presence here today. Thank you, and see you next week.
This video shares my personal experiences and perspectives. It is for educational and informational purposes only, and is not a substitute for professional mental health or medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you're experiencing significant mental health challenges, please consult with a licensed mental health professional. If you're experiencing a crisis or having thoughts of self-harm or harming others, please call 988, 911, or your local emergency services.